Duk Nyamruk Thokpa only hopes that we have the wisdom to choose a government, to choose a representative that serves and not the one that needs to be served.
Power, not for the influential. Power not for the rich, not for the few that are in privileged positions, but power for the people. Wangse Chirfel is about power.
We believe in strengthening democracy by upholding the sanctity of the Constitution, protecting the civil rights, ensuring a just, united, prosperous and harmonious society.
We have been looking at community at large in the world, not just in Bhutan, about how family values, human values are becoming secondary to things like money, power. A lot of other things seem to have become priorities now.
We have advanced these supreme claims of the nation on this party. The claim of the nation is also in terms of peace. Peace of the nation has a claim on the society.
Kusuzampo and welcome to BBS. This program is brought to you by Royal Thimphu College. BBS has been asked to moderate this program and package this program and air it so that people outside RTC, be it in any Dzongkhap, could also watch this program, see the happenings and see the developments that are taking place with our political parties. All 5 political parties are represented here, and this forum is organized to introduce the parties to our young friends and the faculty members here, simply because when I asked them to raise their hands, if they are below 18, I didn't see even a single hand raised, because it's now safe to say that all are eligible voters. And as a voter, it's important that they know what is happening within the political fray. Before we move on, let me introduce my guests. And this is strictly for television because we have had introduction for the audience here. To start with, I have Honorable Opposition Leader, Mr. Singh Dobde from People's Democratic Party. His Excellency, Honorable Education Minister Limbo Thakur Singh Baudel. Representing Druk Phuntsum Sokpa, and representing Druk Nyamruk Thokpa, Mr. Norbu Wangchuk, the spokesperson of the party. And from Druk Chirwang Thokpa, we have Honorable President Amlili Wangchuk. We have Chawang Tashi, who is the Vice President of Bhutan Pinyam Party. Everything is strictly timed. So once the time is over, time is up. Up means up. We will have no other arrangements left. Okay. So with this, we would like to start our program. Our first speaker is Mr. Norbu Wangchuk from Druk Nyamruk Thokpa.
5 political parties stand before the nation today. We stand before you not as rivals competing for power and fame. We stand here as partners for the progress of our country. Of course, we have differences. We have differences in the way we articulate the aspirations of our country. We have differences in the way we prioritize challenges that confront our country. And we have differences in the ideas and solutions that we offer our great nation. But most importantly and most significantly, we are one Bhutanese that cares for our country and that means well for our country. We are a young democracy, and as I see it, we have great opportunity and scope to create and nurture a democracy and politics that all of us can be proud of. That the world outside will look at us and say, hey, that is the democracy and politics that we would like to emulate. We envision a democracy that is a sacred institution that serves the people of this great nation. We envision a democracy and politics that has earned the respect of the society, and that is seen as the highest platform for public service. We look at this politics and democracy not mired with criticisms, distrust, and suspicion. We believe politics should not divide us in competition for fame and popularity, but it must unite us for the progress of our small but beautiful nation. 2008 was a special year. It was a year we received the golden gift of perhaps one of the finest and most important invention of mankind, democracy, from our golden throne. And if you look back to the architect's mind, the fourth Duke Gelpo, why democracy for Bhutan? We don't have to delve further, look anywhere else. We just need to listen to what he had once said. And he said, "It is not wise that a country be governed by one single individual, even if he is the king." And that resounds well, perhaps, with the RTC student, especially those of you who are studying politics. What Abraham Lincoln said, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And 2008, we received this golden gift of democracy. That is not to say, that does not mean that the king is to be replaced by another individual or a few individuals, but that the government must be run on the collective wisdom of its people. We envision a government that serves its people and not a government that needs to be served by its people. Druk Nyamrup Tsokpa envisions a democracy and politics where we create space, where ideas are contested, where criticisms are welcomed, where diversity is respected, and where people have learned to live harmoniously, yet in their individual differences. In the last 5 years, we have seen unprecedented development. We sing the song of prosperity. We have a reputed institution, the International Monetary Fund, telling us that Bhutan is the fourth fastest growing economy in this entire world. Another report tells us we are the second richest country in Southeast Asia after Maldives in per capita income at US dollars 3,000. Our own reports tells us that the average GDP growth in the last 5 years is 8.8. Very impressive, unprecedented development. However, let me take this opportunity to introduce ourselves to this woman who lives somewhere in the remote village of our country, Amdemola. Amdemola lives in a hut. She lives all by herself. She calls this hut her home. And the hut doesn't have a secured window or a door. There's no possession in her house except for some pots and pans. But strangely, in the corner of the house is a wooden box. My friend teases her and asks her to open up the box. The box is securely locked. She refuses for some time, but after persuasion, she takes the key from her neck, bends down, and opens the door, opens the box. Inside the box is the remnant, the leftover food of yesterday. She has locked it so that some stray cats and dogs would not eat it up. And that is her most prized possession in the entire world. Government report tells us that 12% of the people live the lives of Demola, and 12% is about 100,000 Bhutanese. 100,000 Bhutanese is a lot in a population of 700,000 Bhutanese. That is 1 in every 7 Bhutanese. It is this story of Demola that challenges people in Druk Nyamrup Tsokpa to rise up to the cause of Demola. And we truly believe that the fruits of democracy must reach people like Demola, who are the most deserving. And we also believe that hardworking people, hardworking Bhutanese, must have a secured future. Can I have water, please? Sorry, my throat is a little bit dried up. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Your Excellencies. This is the spirit that we would like to see with our political parties.
Our constitution is designed to empower the people after 5 years to choose their government. And it is the power that we would exercise in 2 years' time for now. Druk Nyamrup Tsokpa only hopes that we have the wisdom to choose a government, to choose a representative that serves and not the one that needs to be served. Las damapat jongkanabit shugubeng achigit sidin chokpagi ngote dila tangachigit chokpagi mindi te druk nyamrup chokpa set shuis shunin te nyamrup si shakomigi khunda geba dordichi shuro chibochin te nyamrup semedi ngachiragi yuchen nalal phala gyok nijangagi yuchen rere shindu nalu lamse sangbochi te kachi dugo sewachin te nyamrup gi tholebe lada jawa kachira bedi berura nyamrup gi tholebe te dubde debe tentem gi loju dus shunila chimji chabdi bedi berura te michi gi nga chimchabni I se lapchira te chimsa dare ngen new chachabgi lalugi te do pung lalugi jemne be chipgil zo chap shingi zo chabdigi be te chim dub gi pe debe dus shunila chichugu te tirute digibe la chate digibe be mongobes shunila dizumbe dashi bomsho kadimchi indi berura ya hondalu michida nigi rikpada khekogi hom membes shunila te rikpada yenten chodup sherap chirup gi tholebe te dashi kadimchi bom indi berura homa subegi pe mendus shuni te dida daube te ngachigi tau dauchi bewachin te mangchu ringlugi ji ngombade mi chida nigibe te lalen tabni member beshimda te mi chirupgi sherab da chodup nyamrupgi tholebe bekobbe ngachigi debe zipmesu shuni debe beule te ngachigi media te druk nyamrup chokpa se shakomede diin se shunila tangachigi ngotagi kolle dordichi shuwachin ngachigi te logo dila te meto in se shuni te meto gi delea kamshi meto in se shunila te meto churu chebi zese te meto di kadamchi chundi bedi berura te ya ngacharagi chachebegi ten kenchu sum nambegi che indi beruda hindu gi che na bedi beruda te christian gi che na bedi beruda te meto di ya chachebegi ten lu pitubegi te zechi imale ten digi be te ngachigi meto kamshi meto in se shunila te kamshi meto di te ya kenchulu pibigi namdinalu ngachi druk nyamrup chokbagi te melamda rewa kachi tapmo sewachin te du ngada gebo dizumbe ngacharagi du gyakap te dizumbe pamise chanamlu chichu ganchugi tolle kenchu sumpan sudigibe te ngachigi chashunegi melam tabi se shunila ta jura te na ngacharagi druk pinchum chokpa mise mangchu chokpa druk chirwang chokpa Bhutan Kinyam Party ngachari gi dogden bemi siden chokpa chanyamlu te ngachi druk nyamru chokpa gi honle te rewa seru melam seru ra ngachi gi mangchu ringlu di shijam tingri be chudi gi be te dizumbe ngachi gi sigi lamdi te peta chupchi be sigi lamdi gijab be chupchi gi te dinalu te ju chupchi be te rewa da melam de be se shunila kadiche. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nubu Wangchuk, the spokesperson of Druk Nyamrup Chokpala. In fact, you completed your address before our intervention. You took 12 minutes. Now, the next speaker we have is Honorable Opposition Leader, Mr. Tsring Topge, representing People's Democratic Party.
The director, staff, students of RTC, guests for today's event, Kuzu Zangpo. It's good to be back in RTC. Always good to be back. It's so invigorating here. It's especially good to be back today because this is the first common forum for political parties. And who else but RTC, the Royal Thimphu College, would have the credentials of organizing the first common forum for the 5 political parties for the critical elections of 2013. I want to congratulate RTC for living up to its vision of providing academic excellence to Bhutan. It has been only 4 years since RTC opened its doors to its first students. And you are indeed living up to your own vision, living up to the people's vision of RTC. Congratulations. Today, I, Tsring Topge, I have the honor and distinct privilege of introducing my party, the People's Democratic Party, to you. But why would I want to introduce this party? Well, besides the reason that we were told to introduce the party here, why would we want to introduce a party? After all, the People's Democratic Party was the first registered party in Bhutan. We received a registration from ECB in October 2007. After all, the People's Democratic Party had the honor to contest in the first democratic elections in 2008. We lost. We lost by a big margin. But we got to serve our nation as the first opposition party in Bhutan. We lost. We lost by a big margin, and we had only 2 members in parliament as the world's smallest opposition. I don't know how we did as the opposition party. But suffice it to say, we left no stone unturned to fulfill our constitutional responsibility. Suffice it to say, we worked round the clock to serve our nation, to serve our people as the opposition party. So, if this is the case, why introduce the People's Democratic Party? As Mr. Nobu a while ago, and congratulations, sir, on a lovely address, as he mentioned correctly, we may have 5 parties, but we are one in spirit. We have a common vision for a better Bhutan. We are united in purpose to fulfill the aspirations, to fulfill the hopes of our people, and to help realize the vision of our beloved King. So why introduce our parties? Because though we are common, though we are one in spirit, we are also different in character. Each one of us, 5 political parties, must live by a separate independent political ideology. Unless we can have separate ideologies, and unless we can articulate these ideologies to our people, we have no business talking about political parties to the people of Bhutan. I am here today as the president of the People's Democratic Party to introduce our ideology of Wangse Chirfel. My colleagues in the party felt that I should come here personally to report to the students of RTC about the first public announcement on our ideology, which is Wangse Chirfel. But before we get to that, let's talk about you, the students. I've met a few of you, talked to a few of you, and I wanted to know why you are at RTC. In the course of our discussions, I have come to see that you have made big sacrifices to be here. I met Tashi Tendup from Hunsi. Tashi Kati? Tashi Tendup from Hunsi, can you stand up? Oh, there he is, all the way at the back. I met him. He's had a very difficult childhood, a childhood that required him to actually walk from his school in Demesi to his home in Hunsi, from Mongar to Hunsi. And after that, he persisted. He had a difficult childhood. He had to work as a farmer during his vacations. He worked as an NFE instructor. And then he trained, incidentally, through one of our programs as a photographer. And he worked in 2 newspapers. Believe it or not, he also worked as a gomchen to earn some pocket money. He is an author of a book. Or think of Krishna Prasad, Nepal. Krishna Kati? He's also at the back. He grew up with a single mother. His mother single-handedly raised him because his father left the house. He worked hard, and his hard work paid off. He earned a scholarship to Ugin Academy, and he has earned a scholarship to Royal Thimphu College. He's been topping his class every year. Lemo, another student raised by a single parent, worked with her mother on the streets of Kurutang selling snacks. Is here studying, working very hard on scholarship from RTC and YDF. Or Gopilal Paudel. Mr. Paudel? Not Limpus. Yes, Gopilal out there. He left his secure job as a civil servant. He sold his land to pay for the fees to study here. Thank you, Gopilal. But there are many other stories. I'm sure each and every one of you has a story of sacrifice, of hard work. And why? Why are you here? Many of your parents have taken out big loans, sold land like Mr. Gopilal, sold their family heirlooms. Well, I asked Tashi Tendup. Tashi Tendup wants to join politics, but not directly like us. He wants to join the local government. He wants to be a GUP. Krishna Prasad wants to work in the private sector. He wants to start his own company as a chartered accountant. Lemo wants to work as a marketing officer because this is what she's studying in the private sector. And Mr. Gopilal, he wants to continue studying. After leaving the civil service, he studied here. After he gets his bachelor's, he wants to continue studying. These are compelling stories, lovely stories. They inspire. But what binds them, all of them, and what binds them to you is that like you, they want to make a better life for themselves and for their families. Like you, to make a better life for themselves, they want a job. A job so that they can live in dignity, can eat, can clothe themselves well, can rent a house, perhaps can realistically dream of building and owning a home, a job to raise a family, a job so that, like you, a job like you would want to become prosperous. They dream of prosperity. Like you, they yearn for prosperity. But that's easier said than done. Prosperity is easier said than done. Think about Pema Doji. He graduated in 2010 from Pune. His parents sent him to Pune. Since 2010, he's been looking for a job. The last 3 years, he has applied for 40 jobs. He's run from pillar to post, but he is still unemployed. Pema Doji also worked hard. His family also sacrificed a lot. He studied hard and he tried for every job opening that was provided. He also wants prosperity, but he is very far from his dream, very far from achieving his dream. He is still unemployed. He says that unless you have Jabta, you can't get a job. He says it's difficult even to get shortlisted. He says that the system reeks of corruption. He says if he had equal opportunity, he would get a job. He says what he needs is equality. If you want prosperity, we need equal opportunity. If you want prosperity, we need equality. With equality, he says he will get a job and he will be prosperous. But being prosperous is not enough. Even if all of us had jobs and we were all prosperous, that's not going to be enough. Because we want to live our lives the way we see fit, with minimum interference from the authority. We want to live our lives in a manner that we can fulfill our dreams for the future. We want liberty. Liberty, equality, prosperity. That's what Wangse Chirfel is about. Liberty, equality, prosperity. That's what the People's Democratic Party is about. Wangse Chirfel is empowering people. Empowering people by devolving power and authority from the center to the people. Wangse Chirfel, our ideology, is about empowering people so that they can achieve liberty, they can have equality, and they can enjoy prosperity. We think of Wangse Chirfel at three broad levels: politically, economically, and socially. Politically, Wangse Chirfel is devolving powers to political institutions. That is the judiciary, constitutional bodies, CSOs, civil society organizations, media, and others. Devolving power to political institutions is important for check and balance, but more importantly, for the rule of law. Most importantly, political Wangse Chirfel is about devolving power to local government. And Sonam Dendu, if you want a future in local government, you need Wangse Chirfel politically. Wangse Chirfel economically is devolving power and authority to the private sector so that doing business in Bhutan is easier and more enjoyable. If, Krishna, you want a job in the private sector, you need a private sector that's vibrant, that is conducive to your ideas. And socially, Wangse Chirfel is about empowering our people to lead their lives as they see fit with the minimum interference from our government. Empowering people for liberty, equality, prosperity. Wangse Chirfel, how does that sound? Is it worth fighting for? It should be, because ultimately it is about power. Power not for the influential, power not for the rich, not for the few that are in privileged positions, but power for the people. Wangse Chirfel is about power to the people. It is not a new concept. His Majesty the Fourth King coined the phrase, and throughout his golden reign, tirelessly implemented the concept of Wangse Chirfel. That's why we have democracy today. His Majesty the Fifth King continues to promote the concept by doing whatever is required to strengthen our political institutions and to ensure that each and every one of the disenfranchised has access to equal opportunity. That's why so many of you, including Lemo and Krishna, have received Royal Kidu every month. 100 years ago, on 17 December 1907, our people, Our ancestors collectively gave the powers of governance to His Majesty the first King. 100 years later, in 2007, our kings, our beloved King, has given that power back to us. We have to ask ourselves, are we using that power well? We have to ask ourselves, are we empowered? Are the people empowered? We have to ask ourselves, has the last 5 years of democracy, has that translated to genuine power to the people? I think we can do better. I think we need change. There's a lot to do. Our economy, while growing at fantastic rates, is not sustainable. It is not deep. It is not vibrant. We have a severe rupee crunch. Our agriculture.
Your Excellency, your time is up. Thank you so much. We'll
Thank you very much.
Question and answer session. Thank you so much. Our next speaker, we have Lily Wangchu, the president of Drukgyirwang Tsokpa.
Good evening, RTC management, for this wonderful opportunity to interact with RTC family and faculty. Before I begin, because this is the first common forum for all political parties, allow me to share a few personal thoughts. Lumpur Thakur Singh Paudel, the education minister, has been my favorite teacher from Sharafsi College. He's one person whom I have always had a lot of respect and a lot of regard. Today, Lumpur, I would like to take this opportunity to share, if I'm in a different political party, it's the destiny that has led me to a different party. It does not mean my respect and my warmth and affection for you has gone any less. Honorable opposition leader, my very good friend for several years, Honorable Sonam Tobge, my good friend from high school, and Doji Cherin, whom I've had very good relations for several years. I wish to share that I hope politics will not break our friendship, will not affect our friendship, and it will not create barriers between our supporters from different groups. In 2007, one thing I felt so concerned about was different people who got divided along the party lines. Today, one strong conviction we at Drukgyirwang Tsokpa would like to follow is we want to promote unity, prosperity, and happiness. And to do that, we will only practice in clean politics. We will believe that politics is not everything, and we do believe in following what we will only want to say. And this is a conviction that I would like to share, that Drukgyirwang Tsokpa believes in working in a very harmonious manner as we work towards the primary elections. Nothing gives me more happiness than being in the presence of our youth, the future of our nation. You are our hope. You are the true asset. You are the crucial link between the present and the future. You give us that sense of continuity, dynamism, and confidence. Without you, our story is incomplete. Before I talk about Drukgyirwang Tsokpa, I want to give a very brief introduction about why I joined politics. Because behind every political party, there has to be a vision. There has to be a driving force. And I'm proud to share that I am the driving force behind Drukgyirwang Tsokpa. And I think it's important that I be given this brief opportunity to talk about my motivation and the motivation behind DCT. Over the last 19 years of my service to the country, I've served in the government, in the private, with NGOs and UN. And I've left a fairly comfortable life, and I had everything going for me. I couldn't ask for anything more. But in 2010, the turning point was in 2010, when I fell victim to endometrial cancer, a rare cancer which is more common among single unmarried women. According to the doctors said I could either leave or I could die in a few months. And this was a a shocking revelation that I found very difficult to digest. And I thought, if I were to die in few months, what have I done in my lifetime? And then began my period of self-contemplation, self-realization. And I really needed a strong motivation to get out of that situation. And I thought, why should I try and fight if life is all about being born and dying? Why should we be living in the first place? Why should I even fight cancer and try and live? And then I think I started reflecting on what have I achieved in 40 years of my service. In 19 years of my service to the nation, what have I done? And I realized that yes, in terms of professional, financial achievements, I had plenty. But in terms of valuable contributions to the country, to the society, I had not made use of my purpose in life as a human being, as a Bhutanese citizen. That I prayed really hard and I made a promise to God saying, if I'm given a second chance in life, I have a higher purpose in life. And that higher purpose in life is to be voice for the voiceless and to work towards bringing positive change in the country, to work towards greater societal good. I said, I need this second chance in life. And today I'm happy to share, after 3 months of my sincere prayer, I've been blessed with a second chance in life. Today, if I'm in politics, I say it from my heart, I'm here to give all that I have, to contribute towards greater societal good, and I'm not here anything for myself. Having come so close to death, I've realized money, power, fame are all impermanent. It means nothing. These are things all of us work towards, but at the end, these are things you cannot carry with you. What you carry with you is accumulation of good merit. For me, politics, obtaining political power is not an end to itself, but it's a means to an end, with the end being positive, concrete reforms and changes in the country. So today, if I'm with Duke Cherwang Sokpa, I think it was that energy where when 21 men from really grassroots background visited me in my house and requested me to be part of DCT. So today, if I'm at DCT, it was that energy that has bound me to DCT. DCT has been formed by a committed group of people from very humble, hardworking, common background. We are all united with this common vision, the collective vision of working towards positive change in our country. DCT's philosophy and ideology is based on the wisdom and principles of social democracy. As PDP, we also believe in liberty, equality, social justice, and solidarity. We believe in strengthening democracy by upholding the sanctity of the Constitution, protecting the civil rights, ensuring a just, united, prosperous, and harmonious society. Our approach to development is people-centric, with citizens' interests as the central theme of our objective. We believe in inclusive and sustainable socio-economic development with bottom-up approach. DCT believes that we can truly achieve equitable socio-economic development, unity, prosperity, and happiness with the right leadership, vision, and political will, accompanied by bold ideas to launch fundamental changes in the way our country functions. We believe our nation will move forward when our citizens are empowered. Our nation will truly prosper when all of us are equal. When there is social justice, when there is no disparity between the rich and poor, and when government is fully responsive and accountable. We will promote inclusive growth and prioritize development in remote communities with focus on promoting rural prosperity and well-being. We will endeavor to address socio-economic gaps between regions, dzongkhaks, people. Without this, we believe socio-economic parity cannot be achieved. Our vision is to create a society that thrives on equality, justice, and freedom. Democracy can only sustain when civil rights are protected, when people have a bigger role in decision-making, and when our youth are part and parcel of our development story. DCT will strive to create a united, prosperous, harmonious society where every citizen has the right and opportunities to pursue happiness. Dukchirwang Tsokpa has 12 areas of action, but one of our key areas of action is youth empowerment for better tomorrow. We believe that for youth to be involved in democracy, in political process, you have to be there not only engaging with political parties and exercising your vote, but you have to be there to share with us your concerns by being part of the political process. As a result, we have engaged in large stakeholder consultation with large number of youth. And from our interaction with youth, we have found out that there are a number of youth-related challenges and issues in the country. We have also come to realize that today, if there are a growing number of youth-related issues and challenges, it's because there is a disconnect between our policymakers and all of you youth out there. With all due respect to our policymakers, who I know have made valuable contributions to the country, but somehow, because there has not been adequate platform for you to express yourself, there is a disconnect in our policy, that we don't have a policy that addresses your concerns, your needs, your challenges. From our interaction, what we have learned about youth-related issue is unemployment being the number one biggest challenge, substance abuse, crime, suicide, depression, HIV/AIDS, school dropouts, name it, and there are gang formation, teenage pregnancy, abortion, name it, and youth are going through this number of challenges. DCT believes that the solution to youth problem is not through punishment. We believe that the solution to youth problem is by tackling the root causes of these problems and by following a multi-dimensional approach, a holistic approach. Just 2 weeks back, I had a meeting with a group of youth. Among the group seated in the last row was a young man named Sring Doji. He had been a very bright student, but because he engaged in substance abuse, he's been expelled from school. Today, he has turned to the streets, engaging in substance abuse. He is a member of a gang, and he has been in the bar a number of times. At the age of 8 was the first time when he was locked up. He got up and he said, "What has DCT in plan for a youth like me? What's your plan?" I said, "I don't have a plan. I seriously don't have a plan. What DCT has is a vision that is founded on the values of compassion. We will not make plans that may work or may not work. We will care. We will take care of each and every youth in this country. We will give you the opportunities to pursue your dreams and fulfill your aspirations. We will give you the platform through which you can unlock your potentials and realize your goals. We will leave no stone unturned to ensure Sring Doji or any other youth for that matter shall face such a tragic fate." That is not a promise, that's not a plan, but that's a conviction, and that is our vision. A 23-year-old Sonam Dharma is a graduate who's been running pillar to post looking for a job for the last 4 years. She has aspired to become a bureaucrat. She has gone to the private sector. She's not qualified RCC and not got a job. Do you remember there is a saying which goes, "Don't give beggar a fish. Teach him how to fish and he will never go hungry." DCT's answer to this issue of unemployment is simple. We are not going to give youth the fish, but the skills and knowledge on how to fish. We believe our youth must not be going after jobs, but rather jobs should be coming after you. That can only happen when we introduce fundamental changes in the whole education system that it functions. We will introduce positive reforms in the education system. We will restructure the education curriculum so that our youth have the right values, the skills, and the competency to get employed, not just in Bhutan, but anywhere in the world. We Bhutanese are hardworking lot. All we need is the right vision and leadership. We will certainly come up with graduates who are globally competent. Now, come to think of it, shouldn't we aspire for some higher calling in life? Why do we feel that our youth have limited possibilities, that our grasp is lower than what we have reached? There is a world of opportunities out there, and DCT will open up those possibilities for you, and we will make huge investments in research because our youth must drive our creative energy. It is time for our youth to take leadership, and As a result, 50% of DCT's candidates are youth. The response to our candidate from the public had been, oh, DCT may not have any good candidates, they have got all the young graduates. But let me share this with you. These are all dynamic leaders, not because they came to us seeking for employment, but they want to be part of change that they want to see. They have come with a lot of motivation to serve the country. And if we want to address the voice and challenges of 60% of our population, youth has to be involved as candidates, as political leaders. As a result, 50%, I proudly share with all of you here that 50% of our candidates are candidates between the age group of 26 to 40. And they are going to be your voice in the party. We are not here making promises that we are going to hear your voice and go and address those voices, but your voice is going to be addressed and represented by your candidates, the youth representatives in our party. Recently, I met a not so happy city bus driver who talked about how he's earning 10,000, 7,000 goes into the salary, with 3,000 he has to support his family. These are problems our people face on a daily basis. Many silently go unheard. Every Bhutanese should have a decent roof over their head. We will make sure that nobody is left behind. Why I'm sharing this is because, as everybody knows, besides the disconnect between the policymakers.
Honorable President, your time is up. Thank you so much. You'll have some more opportunities later. The next speaker we have is Amchawantashi, Honorable Vice President of Bhutan Kunyam Party, Amchawantashi.
First of all, I know, all BKP members for that matter, we all feel very uncomfortable whenever we are branded as a political party, because there's nothing political about us. Okay, now this is not about politics at all, and right from the beginning, Bhutan Kunyam Party has always spoken about, being exemplary citizens first, of being parents, not being politicians. We have talked about redefining politics, exactly because we feel that in Bhutan, do we really have to have, okay, we have the term democracy, but do we really have to have democracy that is known anywhere else? Will it really apply to us? Why do we have to have rules set for ourselves? We are talking about doing something that applies to us, that is relevant to us, that works for us, all of us, whether old, adult, youth, doesn't matter, we are all citizens, and we are all Bhutanese. We have this one country, Bhutan. Okay, now. So, I would like to thank not anybody but our own luck for having had such good monarchs, that we've had kings that have inspired the world, that have done things very differently from anyone else. In a world that talks about GDP, we had a king that talked about GNH, about gross national happiness. He cared about every one of us. And what has he left us now? A country run by one person, but very peaceful, where we have human values, where we have family values, things that are the priorities in life, that really matter to each one of us as human beings. And now, in 2007 rather actually, our king handed over this, what a lot of people described as absolute monarchy, this power to us. But let us not be deceived by that, because we are not talking about power, we are talking about the responsibilities. And we are talking about 700,000 of us inheriting this one man's responsibility. And if we mess up, shame on us as citizens, really. And we are not talking about making somebody else's future, we're talking about our own future. And this is the right that our kings have given us. So why are we, I don't know what the confusion is about, because in BKP we are all just simple people. who are also parents and who want to create a conducive reality for our own kids. Okay, now. So we are very conscious about this responsibility that has been transferred in this very, very exemplary manner by these exemplary leaders, our kings. So let us be conscious about that responsibility, first of all. So, in fact, that is also the reason why Bhutan Kinyam Party has emerged, a group that got together and called ourselves the Bhutan Kinyam Party. Because we had this shared sense of responsibility that we have received, and the whole world's eyes are on us because of the way the democracy was handed over to us. Our kings have done their part, now it's our turn. No. And if we mess up, it's really shameful. So now we are very conscious about this responsibility, first of all. And then we also are talking about, we have been looking at community at large in the world, not just in Bhutan, about how family values, human values are becoming secondary to things like money, power. A lot of other things seem to have become priorities now. And that's the sad part. So we are human beings first. And we are trying to, all we are trying to do by forming Bhutan Kinyam Party is trying to set an environment for goodness to thrive. Okay? And this is based on one basic fact, which is no baby is born evil. No, it's circumstances that shape us. So we believe in the goodness in everyone. And the first time Sonam Tobge, our president and our founder, when I saw about Bhutan Kinyam Party's formation in the newspapers, the first thing that got my attention was, wow, here is a political party that talks about compassion. Can you think of that? That really got my interest. And then, of course, we started communicating, and I made the leap. After 23 years of service in the government, I couldn't wait to leave the service and join Bhutan Kinyam Party. And we are all people like that in Bhutan Kinyam Party. So why I talk so much about the members is, it's good to say we will do this, we will do that, but to do that we need the basic ingredient, which is good human beings. A good human being never harms anyone and always tries to be good if, wherever possible, for everyone. So we are in Bhutan Kinyam Party investing in good people. We don't talk about competence. We don't talk about academic knowledge. We talk about good people, good hearts. If you want policies that matter to you, you have to have people who will see you as people, who will hear you, who will not just hear you, but have the heart to understand what is the real issue. And only based on this real knowledge of what the real issue is, can you then talk about making a relevant policy. And if your policies are based on sound knowledge, then you know exactly how you're going to implement this. And also, not just implement, but make sure that the impact is there. If it isn't, you better revise your policy or just get rid of it. So we are talking about good people who will try their best to hear you, because democracy is not about 47 people deciding for 700,000. It is about 700,000 telling the 47 what is it that ails them, what is it that they aspire for, what is it that they want. And it is for the 47 to have not just the ears to listen, but the heart to understand. You have the heart, then based on this understanding, form those policies. Okay, now, excuse me. So we talk about this fulfilling the parent's responsibility. What is a responsible parent supposed to do? A responsible parent is one who will equip your child to face reality. But what we are not getting here, it's not just about providing good education and giving good values. No parent will give wrong values. We'll always try to pass on good values. But the point we're missing with the adults here is, what is the reality you're preparing a child for? We are creating this reality. We're responsible for that. Is that really the reality that you want for your child? For your son, for your daughter? And all of you here, you are daughter to somebody, son to somebody, and I'm sure you have equally concerned parents. So we are talking about setting this conducive reality. And as for the conducive environment, like I said, we're investing in good hearts so that human values and family values, things that really matter to us as people, are the ones that surface. Okay, now, there was a recent story about a group of women who stole an 8-year-old girl and was caught somewhere in Jegong. They were trying to sell her, human trafficking. And I'm sure half those women were mothers. What happened to their maternal instinct? Has money become that important? We really have to question ourselves where we are at as people, as society. So I'm sorry, but BKP is not about politics. We are human beings, and I don't know, I'm sorry, but I don't know if we should apologize for being human at all. Okay. And we don't talk about clean politics or dirty politics, but we just talk about trying to do something for our children, trying to be good citizens, deserving of the monarchs we've had. Okay, now. Now, so when we are talking about the future of our children, we are talking about, we remember ourselves as when we were young kids, when we were just in college. I'm sure all of you were the same, Times have changed, but human values haven't. And we were full of dreams. Someone was good in singing. Someone had special football, the sports abilities. Someone had dramatics in their blood. And we all had dreams. We never thought jobs, We thought dreams. But did we get to live those dreams? And we are, I think, all of us seated here, representing our various parties, we all have our share of broken dreams. Because those dreams don't provide you the basics to maintain a dignified living. So what we didn't have, we'd like to be able to provide for those who are not able to create the conditions right now. And Bhutan Kenyam Party talks about allowing you to dream. Because once you start working, most of your adult life you spent on doing that job. And if you hate that job, is it a life worth living? Are you happy? We talk about GNH. This is GNH. You should be happy doing what you're doing. You should believe in what you're doing. And if you have a natural flair for it, and the environment is created for you to take opportunity, make that your living, then I can't think of a happier human being. Okay? So that's what we're trying to do. We are going to create the environment. All you need is the motivation. All of you have talents. Nobody's born on this earth without having a special talent. So let that talent surface. Enjoy what you're doing. We will try to get the environment together for you. And we hope that, always talk about the youth having the talent, having the the flair for living your dreams, that we can translate that into reality. And lastly, before the second buzzer sounds, I'd like to end by saying that what RTC has done today, Royal Thimphu College. We have right now in Bhutan a fear of politicians. It's as if we're carrying a virus, you know. And everybody is so conscious about being apolitical, and at the same time we're talking about having a vibrant democracy. So what RTC has done, I hope everyone else will copy, and this will set the trend, and we really thank you for the courage. Thank you so much.
Chawang Tashi, the Vice President of Bhutan Kinyam Party. Now the final speaker we have is His Excellency Honorable Education Minister Lembo Thakur Singh Paudel, representing Druk Phuntsum Sokpala.
Good evening. I hope you still have some patience left for me. Sitting there, I was getting a bit worried, being the last one to come over to the microphone. But certainly, our kind RTC hosts, honorable presidents of the political parties, officials from the Election Commission of Bhutan, my fellow teachers and students of the Royal Thimphu College. I'd like to join my colleagues who are on the dais in thanking all of you for making this space available for all of us. At one point, I was thinking that it is going to be rather unfair for me to come and stand before you and talk about things that our colleagues earlier on talked about. But on second thoughts, I realized that this is also the first time that I'm going to talk about Druk Phuntsum Sokpala in an institution. So, in that respect, I think it's a very special opportunity for me also to say a few words about the party, but perhaps beyond that, things that truly matter to this country. For a teacher, it is the most rewarding experience to see that three of my students are sitting on the dais: a president, a vice president, a very active champion of the party. It's amazing. Every student must exceed his teacher. And this is truly a most delightful experience for me, and absolutely wonderful to see all of you here. And my very dear friend, His Excellency, the opposition leader. As you would have noticed, we're very close to each other in the parliament. Yes. And we'll always be, yes, in life. Wonderful. As a matter of fact, Druk Phuntsum Sokpa is the second senior-most party in the country. We followed in the footsteps of the People's Democratic Party, which was already in the field for quite a while before we came to the scene. And you have seen over the past 5 years or so that we have been in the field what Druk Phuntsum Sokpa has done. I realized that many of the dreams that my esteemed colleagues mentioned earlier on have in so many ways been actually realized by Druk Phuntsum Sokpa. In terms of the many services which have actually been already provided, as you can see for yourselves over the past couple of years since we actually started implementing the provisions and the vision of the party. In 2008, when Drukpun Sumtsokpa was given the mandate by the people of Bhutan to form the government and to serve them, there was a feeling that since we got 45 seats out of 47, this party was going to go wild. However, over the past 5 years or so, one of the most significant things which has hardly been highlighted by anybody is the fact that we have ensured a very smooth transition thanks to the vision of our kings and the guidance. Democracy, as so many people have talked about, is very exciting, is very dramatic, but so very often it can be very unruly, very irresponsible and messy. We have seen examples of democracy and more democracies and yet more democracies all around the world. Began well, but over the years, the rains started beating them. And as you all know, we were all worried about how democracy would take root in the country. What kind of democracy we might have? What will democracy have to promise to the people of Bhutan? We recognize two faces of democracy. There could be many faces, but at least two faces. The more obvious face, the external face, the more exciting face of democracy. This face, which can often be very messy. But there's also another face of democracy. There is the more responsible, more sensible, more sublime, and often unseen face of democracy. Which one do we go in for? What kind of democracy would best suit Bhutan? What kind of democracy would best serve the country, the people, and the future of our country? These have been at the very core of the vision of Drukpun Sumtsokpa. As you would know for yourself, we have been trying to cultivate the finer aspects, the more sublime, the more honorable and respectable elements of democracy. Because if democracy goes wrong, if it fails, we are in for serious troubles. That's why over the past 5 years or so, how we began was by exactly doing what democracy ought to do, respecting the people. When we went to the field, we didn't talk about party or our party. We didn't talk about elections. We talked about what democracy is. Because there is something that was coming to Bhutan for the first time. And we thought that we had to educate and empower the people. Unless people know what democracy is, unless they know what subtleties define or characterize democracy, they will not be empowered. They could be so easily swayed. So we began by educating the people of Bhutan wherever we went. We thought that we owed it to the people, the system, and the monarchs who launched democracy for the first time in Bhutan. Respect for and the empowerment of the people, honoring the people, that is where democracy begins. And even to this day, as you would have seen, right from His Excellency, our party president, down to the last person in the party, we have made it a point to ensure that the people of Bhutan are owed the respect and the honor that they so richly deserve. In fact, having spent close to 30 years of my life with the young people of Bhutan, I know at very close quarters the sentiments, the feelings, the anxieties, the dreams, and the aspirations of our young people. We heard a lot of examples of people who have not been able to realize their dreams. But Dolmo, in 2008, there were something like 23% or more people who shared a fate similar to that of Abhidolmon. In 2012, that number has come down to 12%. So there are half the number of people like Abhidolmo in the country, with the poverty incidence having come down from over 23% to 12% today. Similarly, in 2008, the number of unemployed people was 4.7%. Today, the number stands at 2.1%. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do in the country to help young people find meaningful jobs, to bring about a better way of life, a living standard and well-being to people like Abhidolmo. But if we really take note of what has actually happened, the situation today is far better than what existed in 2008. Of course, there's a lot more to do in the sense that this is a society that ought to be much more at peace with itself. It should be a society that is at peace with the world. And this is a society that defines itself as a GNH society. So that's why we're very excited about the fact that there are 4 more parties to bring to the people of Bhutan their dreams, their visions. We all look forward to their being able to translate these dreams into reality. As far as Dukpunsum Tsokpa itself is concerned, we have shown to the people that 98% of our pledges have been actually fulfilled. We have not been able to fulfill 3 pledges, but these there are very good reasons why these 3 pledges have not been fulfilled. So in a way, we have given an account of the party to the people of Bhutan. We have given an account of the party's performance to the electorate of Bhutan. So it is actually for the people of Bhutan to really decide what there is in this party. And not only within the country, but also outside. What kind of relationships this government has established, Dukpunsum Tsokpa has established with so many countries around the world. What kind of image does Bhutan have today, both outside as well as within the country? Surely if we go by some of the stories in the media and some of the slogans that we see or hear, it seems nothing in the country is working. Often people get the impression that nothing in this country is working. Everything is going wrong. But surely there's so many good things in this country. Things are working. They ought to be working better. This perhaps the bottom line. So I would like to hope that as the days go by, we'll be able to work together and that we'll be able to give to the people of Bhutan greater choices. I would like to mention just one other aspect of what we've been trying to do. We believe that each party has to entertain and accommodate the claims of the nation. And what are the claims of the nation? The big claims of the nation are its security, its sovereignty, its independence. This is at the very heart of Duk Phuntsam Sokpa. We have not only affirmed, but we have advanced these supreme claims of the nation on this party. The claim of the nation is also in terms of peace. Peace of the nation has a claim on the society. This party has ensured that there is peace in the country. And because there is peace, we can get to come to college like the Royal Thimphu College. We can pursue our dreams. We can realize our potentials. There needs to be peace. So the need for peace has a claim on the party. Duk Phuntsam Sokpa has tried to accommodate in advance those claims of the nation. The environment also has a claim on...
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I'm so sorry to interrupt, but time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Duk Nyamluk Sokpa only hopes that we have the wisdom to choose a government, to choose a representative that serves and not the one that needs to be served.
Power, not for the influential. Power, not for the rich. Not for the few that are in privileged positions, but power for the people. Wangse Chirfel is about power.
We believe in strengthening democracy by upholding the sanctity of the Constitution, protecting the civil rights, ensuring a just, united, prosperous and harmonious society.
We have been looking at community at large in the world, not just in Bhutan, about how family values, human values are becoming secondary to things like money, power. A lot of other things seem to have become priorities now.
We have advanced these supreme claims of the nation on this party. The claim of the nation is also in terms of peace. Peace of the nation has a claim on the society.